Hey everyone, I'm Tardy and thanks for coming to my channel today. So we are going to be finishing up the tavern build. We're going to do the interior today. So if you didn't see the last video, we built this exterior and all of the surrounding areas outside. So if you didn't watch that, you can go and check that out. I'll put a link in the description. And so with that said, let's just get into building. For the first floor of the build, I had a pretty clear plan of what I wanted to do, so it made the most sense to put the actual tavern part of the build on the first floor, so the bar and kitchen area. I thought this kind of worn floor made the most sense because this is going to be the oldest part of the building and have gotten the most use. And I had a really specific kind of vibe that I wanted for this bar area, and it took me a minute to kind of get it exactly right, but I ended up being really happy with it. I really wanted something that looked really dimly lit and kind of dingy looking, like what I imagine would be the equivalent of like a modern day dive bar kind of deal. And I think the kind of cluttered back of the bar kind of really helps to sell that, as well as this stage in the corner that I built for a bard to kind of be there playing music, telling stories. I think that really helped tie the whole room together. And for the tables and things, I thought that a bunch of different sized, kind of small bar type tables really just made the most sense. So I kind of just scattered them around with no real pattern, just wherever they would fit, kind of with the most functionality, really, for it to be able to get around them and fit the most people. Some of them are just meant to be for like one or two people, whereas there's the big party table in the middle there. Moving on to the kitchen area, I wanted it to be incredibly functional, so I tried to think about everything that you would need to cook in a kitchen for this size of a tavern. So I made definitely different types of stations for cooking. So there are a lot of different fires going on back here because it is like a medieval fantasy setting. So there's a oven in the back there for kinds of bread type things, so like more like unleavened bread, and then there is a pot here on the side to cook like stews and things, and then the smoker there in the middle. And with all this interior fire and smoke, if you've ever been anywhere with any kind of like interior cooking, it's going to cause a lot of buildup on the ceiling. So I tried to replicate that with a lot of the new basalt and bricks, and I think it made a really nice smoky ceiling look. Moving on to the second floor, I decided to include overflow seating, a couple small rooms, and the chef's family housing unit area back behind that birch wall there. And so for this area, I really wanted it to be a little bit cozier of a seating area, you know, people that want to kind of get away from the noise down below. And these rooms are going to be the like super cheap rooms. Somebody just kind of stumbles in. Most of the other rooms are taken, and so this is what you get because it's kind of loud. I struggled here with the lighting. I really wanted there to be kind of like a central lighting bit, but the chandeliers weren't looking nice. So when in doubt, I tend to just hang lanterns everywhere. And moving into these kind of, I kept calling them drunk rooms to myself, but they're not necessarily drunk rooms. Like they've got everything you would need, but they're really just kind of for people that have probably shown up in the middle of the night and all of the rooms are taken. Moving into the chef's family rooms, I wanted them to have a decent amount of space because it's going to be a pretty respectable job considering the number of people and the amount of food that they're going to have to make. So they've been awarded not nearly as comfortable of a space as the owner's going to have, but a pretty comfortable living space for them and like a family that they could have some kids to just really be able to run the kitchen smoothly. The third floor felt like a good level to have all of the fancy and expensive rooms because it's far enough away from the noise that you're not going to really be kept up at night from it, but you're not having to trudge up a bunch of stairs constantly. So you're close enough to all of that to get all of your necessities. And so I really spent a lot of time on these rooms, making them feel really comfortable, like you could stay here for a long time if somebody was really spending a lot of time trying to fight this monster, or doing adventuring, or whatever it is that they're doing in this area. They could really stay for maybe months on end and be comfortable in these rooms. And so I also spent a lot of time on the aesthetics of them. And along that lines of comfort, I did do some research and decided to put in a washroom kind of bathhouse style thing. And through that research, I found that it was pretty common to have baths in the medieval style things. So think like Witcher and Geralt and stuff. And I decided to use the crying obsidian at the bottom to make it look like the water was magically heated. And I just really liked that effect. In some of these rooms, I ended up adding windows, so it did change the outside look, but I thought that these rooms really did need windows to fill the kind of fancy vibe I was going for. And these two rooms on the edge that kind of feed into that pop out did get fireplaces because I thought that that kind of tied in the rooms together. And this long room I kind of struggled with because it is big and spacious, but it's really narrow, so I struggled to try to make it seem nice and cozy enough. So this one you might not want to stay in quite as long, but it is still definitely cozy, and the tall window really kind of helps tie that together. For this large pop out, I decided to go with an isolated housing unit for the owners, and I decided that to have a tavern this large and this built onto for this long, they're definitely going to have to be like an old couple. So I really liked the idea that it's just this elderly couple kind of living here and that they built exactly what they wanted in this pop out. So I've got them with their own little fancy bath thing over here. And they've got, they didn't cover up these white exterior walls because why would you spend the time doing that? And my own experiences with elderly people, I kind of tend to think about my own grandparents, and I feel like what really sold this is some old people's houses are the random shelves just scattered everywhere with storage that you can never ever get to. So I really liked that effect, and it makes this definitely my favorite part of the tavern. It's definitely super cozy. The fourth floor is where we're going to have a lounge for everybody to kind of hang out at, do some planning. There's a library through those birch doors right there, just to kind of get away from like the noisy tavern area, but still be able to kind of meet in a centralized area. It's also going to be the kind of standard rooms and some hostel style rooms that are cheaper. So this is going to be where most of your people are staying. There's a ton of beds in this area. And for the library, I really liked the full bookshelf walls, and I wanted it to be really functional. So I went with like a balcony, and there are a lot of ladders to kind of make sure you can get around all of the books. And I put little study nooks everywhere that you'll probably be able to see a lot better in the cinematic shots later. I struggled how to get some seating in here that was still functional with the size, so I ended up going with little cushion type things. It's just using slabs, so you might have to use your imagination a little bit. And then behind the door on this tiny pop out on the far side, I decided to put a little scribe room, so it's who runs the library and kind of keeps it in order. So it's got a big desk and a little chair and books along the side. And these are just a couple of the rooms that you're going to see on this floor. So that's a couple of these like split level ones. And this is a hostel style room with a lot of bunk beds. There are 2 hostel style rooms and then a couple of these split rooms and then a couple just 1 level rooms also. So I'm not going to go through all of them on this, but you will see them in the cinematic shots. I didn't have any set plans for the attic, and I was a little stumped, and I had a friend suggest, what if a king or ruler or somebody commissioned a large kind of raiding party to take out this boss monster thing? Where would this large party meet to plan their attacks and things? Like, they're not going to fit in the lounge or the tavern. So a planning room seemed like a really good addition. So I decided to go with that. And I decided, again, as you see here, with the hanging lanterns and some cozy seats along the edge, because the planning is probably going to take a long time. I think it really helps pull in the story for the tavern, that it's in this kind of area where there's monsters that need to be fought and the whole D&D tie-in for it. That's why I kind of brought in some maps here to add for some detailing, and there's going to be like a sword on the table, like picture like a barbarian just kind of slapping their sword down. and so I really like how this room turned out. Added some shelves, some books. And I also decided to build a kind of brewing lab for alchemy and potions, and I thought that the attic was a really good place to do that, so fumes and stuff don't get into the other rooms. I also decided to go with soul lanterns for the lighting because I figured since they're in the nether, they're not combustible, so it seemed like a nice safety touch, and I really ended up liking how this turned out. And that is the tavern built, everybody. I hope that you like how it turned out. I definitely am really happy with that. Oh my gosh, look at this. Sorry. So we're about to get into some cinematic shots, but I just thought I'd let you know. Coming up next, we're getting into some Halloween builds. So I'm going to be doing the mill from Over the Garden Wall, and that has been really fun to build. And we're going to do another Halloween town build after that. Not Halloween Town, the show, like a Halloween village. So if those sound fun and you liked this, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you don't miss any of that. So thanks guys, and have a great day.